Hello ladies and gentlemen, as you can see from this extremely helpful slide, my name is Jamie and I'm the head of content at Suso Digital. And uniquely among industry speakers or webinar hosts in 2026, I'm going to be talking to you about AI. Imagine that. But in this case, rather than trying to crowbar it in anywhere and everywhere unnecessarily, I'm going to focus very particularly on one key area that hopefully we at SUSO know a lot about, but also one that's increasingly taking up more and more of our day-to-day time, and also one that I strongly believe will come to dominate the day-to-day lives of you guys in the PR industries in years ahead as well. And that's the area of AI search. Now, PR, as we all know, has always been about shaping perception, building trust, and earning credibility. But we've recently seen a big change in who is doing the listening. It's no longer just journalists, analysts, or customers. We are now also increasingly having to cater to the machines, to the robots, to AI. And the reality is that AI tools like ChatGPT and Gemini are fast becoming the new intermediaries of trust. They decide which brands are credible enough to mention, cite, or recommend, often before a human being ever even sees a search result. And that is why PR doesn't just have a seat at the table in AI search, PR should own it. And we know that earned media is already driving the narrative in AI systems. I'm sure many of you have already seen the Muckrack study from last year that showed that more than 85% of citations in AI answers came from earned sources like news articles and third-party mentions. And to me, as somebody who's worked in PR and in search, that makes total sense. Because earned media has always been a reputational shortcut. If a trusted publication says something, then the signal to both the user and to the search tool is inherently stronger. But at the same time, in 2026, demand is exploding. The search industry is predicted to be worth almost $84 billion this year. So this represents a massive opportunity for PR agencies to tap into, because GEO, AI search, whatever you want to call it, it's not about keywords. It's about credibility, authority, and narrative consistency. All things that PR has mastered for decades. But one thing, and I don't want to be rude here to anybody watching this, but one thing that I think a lot of PR people aren't thinking about enough is that while yes, it is true that earned media sets the narrative, but your owned properties actually need to reinforce it if you want to win. AI systems don't just cite articles, they cross-check them. They look for confirmation and consistency across the web, including on a brand's own website. And if the machines can't access, parse, or trust what they find there, then the narrative collapses. You probably heard a huge amount about why GEO, AI search, whatever matters. Why earned media is suddenly powerful again, why PR is perfectly positioned to own this domain, as it should. But I want to talk to you in this session a little bit more about the how. More specifically, how to make your owned media, like your website, work properly for LLMs, so that it can reinforce the narratives that you're trying to drive and ultimately improve AI visibility. Fair warning, despite my dulcet northern tones, this is unlikely to be the sexiest thing you've ever heard. If it is, I'm not here to kink shame anybody either, but it is absolutely vital for success. And I promise to make it as fun as possible. So, let's jump in. Now, before I get into the nitty-gritty, we first need to take a step back and understand how AI search is fundamentally different from traditional search at the most mechanical level. Think about how people have searched for the last 20 odd years, or since Blackburn Rovers won the league. They'd typically type something like sustainable shoe brands into Google, click through a few listicles, visit some brand websites, read through reviews, and maybe some articles. Multiple touch points, so much effort and time on behalf of the user. But also, crucially, multiple opportunities for you or your client's brands to show up and influence that decision. Today, somebody asks ChatGPT what are the most sustainable shoe brands, and they get one response with maybe 2 or 3 brand names. That's it. One interaction. Rarely any direct website visits off the back of that. The AI has already made the judgment call about whether or not to recommend your brand within 5 seconds. Secondly, how these machines make these decisions is fundamentally different. Here's a quick lesson for you guys. So, Google's traditional crawlers or bots would find pages on your site through internal links. It would then read and index your pages and then serve them in a ranked list based on things like relevant keywords, backlinks, technical factors, and hundreds of different algorithms. Now, AI systems, they don't run on a pre-existing web index like Google does. Instead, they primarily run on what's called training data, which is their first line of defense. These tools are trained on massive amounts of publicly available text from across the web, like articles, websites, books, research papers, and they refer to this data to inform their response. But here's the catch. The training data isn't consistently updated like Google algorithms are. It actually has a knowledge cutoff date, which means its information is essentially frozen in time. So, for example, to show you what I mean, ChatGPT 5.2's cutoff date is very precisely August the 31st, 2025. Anything since this date, the tool innately has no idea about it. And let's be honest, a huge amount has happened in that time, and I am quite jealous of the tool in that regard. But in real terms, for you guys, if your client rebranded a few months ago or achieved some sort of major certification, the AI might not know about it yet because it's not within their training data. And this is important because training data is only updated periodically. So we want to use our owned media to become part of the long-term knowledge layer that AI systems learn from. Now, when AI tools don't have the knowledge within their existing training data to accurately answer a prompt from a user, they're doing something called query fan-out, where they take your prompt and then fan it out into multiple related questions in the background, just like these ones on screen. And they then perform a search on the web based on these prompts. The bots then go out and pull out very specific chunks of content from all over the web that address those questions to form one synthesized cohesive response. So this is the part that I'm really concerned with and one that you guys should sort of take away from this. If your owned content, like your website, your About Us page, your product details, all the things that you have complete control over aren't accessible or don't reinforce those narratives that you're trying to put out there, you're missing half the equation. So in other words, you might have incredible press coverage about, your sustainability efforts. But if the AI can't verify those efforts on your website because it lacks the content, it's blocked by technical barriers, or if the content itself contradicts the web's general consensus, you won't get that citation. AI can only cite you if its bots can access, read, and extract information from your content. So let's start with content, as in my mind, all right-thinking people should. Because I know what probably many of you are doing right now and probably have done for quite some time. You're probably still writing thought leadership pieces and trend reports, which is all great stuff for journalists and for controlling the narrative, right? Well, when you're trying to get cited in AI search, AI tools don't care as much about thought leadership as they do about topical authority and direct answers to your target audience's questions and intent. And also those fanned out queries that the tools run in the background that we just went through. In fact, last year Surfer SEO came out with some research that concluded that you're 161% more likely to get cited if you rank for these fan-outs. Now, unfortunately, ChatGPT and the other AI tools don't currently give anyone access to real searcher data. So we have virtually no idea what prompts people are actually putting into these search bars. The good news is that you do have access to what some of these questions might be. You just need to know where to look. So, I'd like to draw attention to a couple of different sources that are on screen now. The first one, no doubt many of you will have heard of and many of you will use on a daily basis. Google Search Console can show you the actual queries that people are using on Google to get to your website. You can even filter these for specific question modifiers like who, what, when, where, how, why, all of the most important words in both PR and journalism. You've probably also already seen the People Also Ask section on Google, which is a feature that shows real questions that people are asking frequently in Google related to a search. So it's kind of like a visual representation of what the AI is doing with Query Fanout. These are related questions to the original query. Of course, we also want to do some social listening on websites like Reddit to see how people are discussing the brand in question or the category more generally, and to find out what the most commonly asked questions are there. You should also speak to people within your client's team that are directly dealing with customers on a daily basis. Think about customer support teams or customer success teams, salespeople. Anyone who speaks directly with customers on a daily basis is going to know the most commonly asked questions related to specific products or to the brand. That stuff's like gold dust. There are also some cool free tools and Chrome extensions out there that can help that you can show to the exact query fanouts that are generated for specific prompts that you can test. If you DM me after this session, I'll be able to recommend some of those for you. But for now, we'll keep moving. So, for content, you take all of these ideas and queries and then you group them by topics and intents, and then strategically mask these topics to specific pieces of content on your website. You maybe organize this content by having a hub or pillar page, which is a high-level overview that touches every core aspect of the topic, in this case, the complete guide to sustainable footwear in 2026. And around that, you add supporting pages on things like greenwashing, materials, and use cases. And just make sure to interlink them all together. That way, when someone asks ChatGPT about sustainable shoes, it sees your site as the most complete, trustworthy source. And it not only reinforces that narrative that you're trying to portray, like all good PR should, but now it cites you because you have more content that addresses these potential fanouts. You get that link in the AI search platform. Now, the brutal truth is, and this saddens me as much to say it as it probably will for you to hear it, ultimately, sadly, it doesn't matter how good your content is or how many query fanouts or custom questions you've optimized for. If the bots can't access your content, there's just no way for it to be cited. It sounds simple, but you would be amazed how many millions of brands are currently experiencing this without even realizing. And what I mean by this is that there are a lot of common technical blockers that we see all the time that prevent citations from happening. And this is why AI visibility dies at this very technical layer, the layer that a lot of PR people simply aren't even thinking about. Fair warning, here's where it all gets a little bit more technical, but deep breath, I believe in you, we'll get through this together. Right, firstly, did you know that a lot of websites are currently blocking AI bots from finding their pages without even realizing it? The first way we see this is in the robots.txt file. In simple terms, robots.txt is a set of instructions for these bots that tells them which pages or sections of your website they are allowed or forbidden to visit. Sometimes there are explicit disallow rules that set in these files that prevent certain bots from accessing your pages altogether. The good news is it's a very simple fix. You simply need to get a developer to update the file's instructions in the back end. Easy job. The second place that we find this, which is even more alarming, is in Cloudflare. Now, for those of you who don't know, Cloudflare is a CDN that powers and hosts about more than 20% of all websites on the internet. Well, back in July, Cloudflare decided pretty unilaterally to block AI bots by default as part of ongoing disputes against these AI companies who were scraping proprietary content without permission or compensation. And so it's very plausible that it could be blocking your clients' websites too right now. I wouldn't be offended if you paused this session now and went to go and check, because it's that important to make sure that this has been fixed. Because it is an easy fix. All you need to do is to go into your Cloudflare security settings and turn off block AI bots. But go and check now if you haven't already to see whether it's currently turned on. Third, page speed. Now, this is not just about user experience anymore, although it is very important in that regard too. If your site loads too slowly, bots will get a 499 response code, which essentially means, screw it, I give up. And they move on to a competitor's site instead. Research by SE Ranking last year found that fast loading pages that load in basically less than half a second, are 3 times more likely to be cited by ChatGPT. Finally, paywalls create a significant problem for AI search visibility because most bots can't or won't access content that's behind authentication barriers. So any sort of gated content or press that lives on your website will not be able to be picked up by these bots. As a workaround, make your key claims publicly accessible. Take those sustainability reports, those certifications, white papers, third-party audit results, whatever they may be, and create public-facing summaries on pages that anyone can access without logging in. You can still gate the full detailed PDF if you want, but the core facts need to be out in the open where AI can see them. All right, so let's say the bots didn't give up and they made it to your page. Lovely stuff, right? But now we have a second question. Can they actually read and extract your content? You see, bots are a little bit particular about how they consume content on your site. For starters, a lot of these AI crawlers can't properly read JavaScript, which is used on most websites to power design and interactive elements. They mainly process plain HTML, so if you want your content to be picked up and cited, make sure that it is available in clean semantic HTML, otherwise the bot might just see an empty page. Now, I mentioned earlier that AI tools aren't reading an entire page like Google does. Instead, they are looking for very specific and relevant chunks of content that address the prompt and those query fanouts. And your metadata, your title tag, your URL structure, even your meta descriptions are places they reference at a glance to interpret the meaning of the page, whether or not its content is going to satisfy the user's intent, etc., etc. So these things have to be very clear and almost give away exactly what the page is about. And research companies like Profound verify this. They found last year that semantic URLs with 4 to 7 words improved citation rates by more than 11%. And meta descriptions that spoil content perform better as well. Look at these 2 examples. Can you see the difference? Exactly. The second one tells the AI, and human beings admittedly, exactly what's on that page before they even click on it. And something else that does this very well, in fact, is schema markup, which is essentially a piece of code that tells bots what kind of content they're looking at. There are hundreds of different types of schema markup you can add to your page, but for you guys in PR, I'd say the most important ones to know about straight out the gate are news article, organization, person, FAQ, and product schema. Finally, your content itself needs to be easily extractable. AI is kind of like a scanner. It's hunting for clean, self-contained answers that it can use to directly answer the prompt. So you need to write each section of content like it might be quoted on its own. Lead with the direct answer and then explain it without bleeding into other things. This is new to a lot of SEO writers, but for you guys in PR, for me as an ex-journalist, this is exactly how we've been writing for decades. Think about the upside-down pyramid of news, which many of you will be using on a day-to-day basis to write press releases. It's exactly the same kind of thing. You also want to make sure that your heading hierarchy is clean, so 1H1 for the page, then H2s for the main sections, ideally formatted in conversational question-answer style. It's also great to lean on things like lists, tables, and bullet points because they allow AI tools to parse information more easily. Now, I know what many of you are probably thinking. This sounds like a huge amount of work. How do I even know if it's working? And that is a completely fair question. But this is actually where owned media gives you a massive advantage because it's the only channel where you have 100% control. And as anybody who's ever worked in PR knows, it's incredibly rare that you ever feel 100% in control of what's going on. Comes with the territory, I'm afraid. Therefore, your owned media is the place where you can measure your impact with the most accuracy. Let me break down some of the things that you can actually track. So, through your CDN logs, you can see exactly which AI bots are visiting your site, which pages they're accessing, and whether those pages are failing to render. This is real data. If GPT bot hit your pricing page 47 times last week, now you know that, and you can do something with that information. We can also see in Google Analytics what kind of referral traffic and conversions are coming from AI tools. This is the kind of impactful data that can help us speak to and prove ROI, as long as it's set up properly, that is. And now we have tools like Bing Webmaster that show you how often your content is getting cited for actual query fanouts that happen in Copilot. I'm personally praying that Google Search Console isn't too far behind with their own solution, but as of yet, we're still waiting for the drop, I'm afraid. But there are other pieces you should still be monitoring as well, like prompt level visibility. What category is your brand associating with? What's the sentiment towards the brand? And how easily can AI access and extract the information? And these are just some of the over 100 signals we analyze in our free visibility checker tool, which you can see in front of you now. So, getting close to the end, you'll be pleased to hear. But right now is the time for me to get real with you guys. I'll hold your hands when I say this, but one important thing for you guys to kind of think about here is that SEOs, people like me, people who look and sound like me and my team, have been doing this stuff forever. Page speed, schema markup, building topical authority, none of this is new. And SEOs have spent the better part of the last 2 decades testing and reverse engineering algorithms to get to these best practices. This, however, is not a reason to compete with SEOs. This is a reason to finally work together. PR and SEO have operated in silos for way too long. You own the narrative, they own the technical infrastructure. But in AI search, you need both if you're going to win. So if PR wants to own AI search, and to reiterate, it should, then PR and technical SEO must work as one, because the opportunity is massive, but you can't capture it alone. Now, before I wrap up, I just want to share a resource with you guys that we've built specifically to help PR pros like you navigate and own this space. As many of you will already know, this is the SUSO Partner Club and it's completely free. Many of you will already be members. But just to reiterate what the ways in which we support you as part of the Partner Club, we give your teams access to one-on-one training and workshops that your team can get upskilled on AI search and speak confidently to clients and prospects. There's a 24/7 help desk that connects you directly with our SEO specialists so that you can get answers to any technical questions you or your clients might have. We also do free white labeled AI visibility reports so that you can show your clients exactly where they stand in AI search results and specific opportunities for them to improve their visibility. And we don't stop there. Our team also provides sales and pitch support to our agency partners so that you guys have the ammo that you need to be able to win AI SEO retainers. We've got over 2.5 members already, and many of whom will be tuning in right now. And if you know anyone else that'd like to join, we'd love to be able to support you in that as well. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you found it useful.